Captain Daniel Pierce stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council station. The room was huge, with walls that seemed to stretch forever upward. Beings from hundreds of different worlds sat in curved rows looking down at him. Some had scales. Others had fur. A few were just floating lights inside glass containers. Daniel wore his best uniform, the dark blue of Earth's defense fleet with gold bars on his shoulders showing his rank. He felt small standing there. Behind him, Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan stood at attention. She had been with the fleet for 15 years, working her way up from the bottom. Her face showed nothing, but Daniel knew she was nervous too. This was humanity's big moment, their chance to join the galaxy as equals. The Crovaxi delegate rose from his seat. Thexerin was his name, and he looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and eyes that reflected light like mirrors. When he spoke, a machine translated his clicking sounds into words everyone could understand. "Your ships are toys," Thexerin said. His voice carried across the chamber. "We have looked at your fleet. Metal plates welded together. Chemical rockets. We have cargo vessels with more power than your warships." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Not loud, but enough to sting. Daniel kept his face calm, but his hands wanted to form fists. The EDS Valiant, humanity's flagship, was the pride of Earth. 2 kilometers long, covered in weapons, the result of decades of work. And these aliens were laughing at it. A Xanthari representative stood next. The Xanthari looked almost human, except for their gray skin and the way their eyes glowed faintly blue. "Earth may join the Council," she said, "but only as a provisional member. You will trade in designated zones. You may settle 3 worlds in the Outer Rim, but you will have no vote in Council matters." Daniel had expected this. Admiral Richard Preston, back on Earth, had warned him. The galaxy did not respect the weak. Humanity had only just learned to travel faster than light. Every other species in this room had been doing it for thousands of years. "We accept," Daniel said. The words felt like ash in his mouth. Commander Jake Sullivan watched from the Valiant's bridge. The ship hung in space near the Council station, surrounded by vessels that made it look tiny. A Xanthari cruiser drifted past, its hull made of some kind of crystal that glowed with inner light. The ship was beautiful and deadly, armed with weapons that could glass a planet. "They're treating us like children," said Chief Engineer Pete Collins. He sat at his station, checking readouts on his screens. Pete had gray hair and a face lined with years of hard work. He had helped design the Valiant's engines. "We are children compared to them," Jake replied. "They've been out here for millennia. We just arrived. Doesn't mean we'll stay children forever." Jake smiled at that. Pete was right. Humans had a talent for catching up, but it would take time, and time was something they might not have. The Council session ended. Daniel and Lisa returned to the Valiant with their new assignment. They would patrol the frontier zones, the dangerous edges of civilized space where the Council's authority barely reached. 4 human ships in total would handle sectors that would normally need 20. Lieutenant Amy Fisher, the tactical officer, pulled up the star charts. Red markers showed known pirate activity. Yellow markers showed disputed territories. There were so many markers the map looked like it had a disease. "This is a setup," Amy said. She was young, only 26, but sharp as a knife. "They're putting us where the danger is highest. They're testing us," Daniel corrected. "They want to see if we can handle ourselves. Or they want us to fail so they can say we're not ready." Daniel could not argue with that. The galaxy worked on respect, and respect came from strength. Earth had neither yet, but they would earn it one way or another. That night, Daniel sat in his quarters and opened a secure communication channel to Earth. Admiral Preston's face appeared on the screen. The Admiral was in his 60s with white hair and eyes that missed nothing. "How bad was it?" Preston asked. "About what we expected. Provisional status. No real authority. They gave us patrol duty in the worst sectors. And the fleet? They laughed at our ships, sir." Preston was quiet for a moment. Then he leaned forward. "Daniel, I'm going to tell you something that stays between us for now. We have a project in the works. Something big. It's been in development for 5 years. What kind of project? The kind that will make them stop laughing. It's not ready yet. We need 6 more months. But when it is ready, everything changes. Can you keep your people alive for 6 months?" Daniel thought about the star charts, about the pirates and raiders in the sectors they had to patrol. 6 months seemed like a long time. "We'll do our best, sir. That's all I can ask." Preston out. The screen went dark. Daniel sat in the quiet of his quarters wondering what the Admiral meant. A project that would change everything. What could Earth build that would impress species who had mastered space travel before humans invented the wheel? The next morning, the Valiant left the Council Station with 3 other Earth ships. The destroyer Princeton fell in behind them. The destroyer Magellan took position on their right. The cruiser Independence, under Captain Ryan Foster, moved to their left. 4 ships. 4 tiny human vessels heading into some of the most dangerous space in the galaxy. The aliens were probably betting on how long they would last. Some species might even be hoping they would fail, would disappear, would prove that humanity did not belong out here. Lisa stood beside Daniel on the bridge as they jumped to faster-than-light speed. The stars stretched and blurred around them. "What do you think they're building back home?" she asked quietly. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it better be good. And if it's not ready in time?" Daniel looked at the tactical display showing their 4 ships as tiny blue dots heading into the red zones. "Then we do what humans have always done. We survive, we adapt. We show them that we belong here, whether they like it or not." The Valiant and her small fleet jumped into the darkness of the frontier zones. Behind them, the galaxy continued to laugh. Ahead of them, danger waited. And somewhere back in the Sol system, in hidden shipyards around Jupiter, something was being built. Something the galaxy had never seen. The humans were coming, and soon, very soon, the laughter would die. The attack on Harmony came at dawn. The colony world was peaceful, home to 30,000 humans who had traveled from Earth to start a new life. They had farms and small towns, schools and hospitals. 2 patrol corvettes watched over them from orbit, along with a single defense platform. It was not much, but it should have been enough to scare off random pirates. 6 Vecron raider ships appeared without warning. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel right on top of the colony. The defense platform never had a chance. Plasma cannons tore through its metal skin like paper. The platform exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the night sky below. Lieutenant Greg Baker commanded the EDS Defender, one of the 2 corvettes. He was in the ship's small mess hall drinking coffee when the alarms went off. By the time he reached the bridge, his ship was already under fire. "Get us moving." "Return fire," Greg shouted. His crew scrambled to their stations. The Defender's railguns opened up, spitting metal slugs at the nearest raider ship. The rounds hit the enemy shields and bounced off like raindrops on glass. "Sir, their shields are too strong," said his weapons officer. "Our guns aren't doing anything." The 2nd corvette, the Swift, tried to help. She moved between the raiders and the planet, buying time for the people below to evacuate. A raider ship turned its attention to the Swift. 3 plasma bolts hit her in quick succession. The Swift's shields failed. Her hull cracked open. Then her reactor exploded. Lieutenant Karen White, Greg's second-in-command, watched the Swift die on her screen. Her voice shook when she spoke. "Sir, the Swift is gone. All hands lost." The Defender shuddered as more enemy fire hit. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed on every panel. "Hull breach on decks 3, 4, and 5, Karen reported. "We've got casualties. Life support is failing in the forward sections." Greg looked at his crew. Young faces, scared faces. He had trained with these people, eaten with them, laughed with them. Now he was going to give an order that might save them or might kill them. All hands, abandon ship. "Get to the escape pods." "That's an order." His crew looked at him, then moved. They were trained well. Within 2 minutes, escape pods were launching from the Defender's sides. Greg and Karen were the last ones off. They climbed into a pod just as another plasma bolt hit the ship's engine section. Down on Harmony, Security Chief Alex Turner was trying to save as many people as he could. He had maybe an hour before raider troops landed. The raiders would not just destroy the colony. They would take prisoners. Humans were worth money in the slave markets. "Get the children on the transports first," Alex ordered. "Then the elderly. Everyone else who can carry a gun with me." The colonists were brave, but they were farmers and teachers, not soldiers. Alex gave them what weapons he had and tried to organize a defense. It felt pointless. The raiders had ships and armor and guns that could punch through walls. The Valiant arrived 2 hours later. Captain Daniel Pierce brought 3 other Earth ships with him. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel to find Harmony burning. Smoke rose from a dozen towns. Raider ships were landing, their troops spreading out across the surface. "All ships attack Formation Delta," Daniel ordered. His voice was calm, but his hands gripped the armrests of his command chair. "Target their landing ships first. We need to stop more troops from getting down." The 4 Earth ships charged in. The Princeton and Magellan, both destroyers, went after the landing craft. The Independence, Captain Ryan Foster's cruiser, engaged the raider ship still in orbit. The Valiant went straight for the biggest enemy vessel. The battle was brutal. The raiders had better shields and better weapons, but the humans fought with desperate fury. The Princeton crippled one raider ship, blowing its engines apart. The Magellan took heavy damage but kept firing until her guns melted from overheating. The Independence got hit hard. A plasma bolt punched through her armor and hit something critical. Captain Ryan Foster ordered his crew to abandon ship seconds before the Independence went dark, floating dead in space. Daniel watched good people die. He watched ships he had served on get torn apart. And he knew they were losing. The raiders were too strong. Earth ships were too weak. "Sir, we need to fall back," Lisa said beside him. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed pain. "We can't win this fight," Daniel wanted to argue. He wanted to stay and fight until every raider was dead or his ship was destroyed. But that would not save anyone. It would just add more names to the memorial wall. "All ships fall back," he ordered. The words felt like betrayal. "Rescue as many escape pods as you can. We're leaving." The Valiant and her 2 remaining escorts retreated. They picked up survivors from the Independence and the Defender. They loaded what refugees they could from Harmony's surface, but they had to leave thousands behind. The raiders had won. The images from Harmony spread across every human world. News broadcasts showed burning buildings. They showed families being separated. They showed raider troops herding people onto ships. And they showed the Galactic Council's response. A simple statement expressing sympathy and offering to mediate, as if slavery was something to negotiate about. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan found Daniel in his quarters 3 days later. He had not slept. He had not eaten. He just sat staring at a list of names. The dead, the missing, the captured. "The Council is calling it our fault," Lisa said. "They say we should not have settled so far out without proper defenses. They're blaming us for getting attacked." Daniel's voice was flat, empty. "What do we do now?" Daniel looked up at her. Something had changed in his eyes. The emptiness was gone, replaced by something harder. "Admiral Preston sent me a message, a classified file. He says Project Titan is ready." Titan? Lisa had heard rumors. Every officer in the fleet had. Whispers about something being built in secret, something big. "What is it?" Daniel activated his desk computer. A schematic appeared on the screen. Lisa stepped closer and felt her breath catch in her throat. The ship shown on the screen was massive, bigger than anything in Earth's fleet. But it was not just the size that made her heart race. It was everything else. The weapons, the armor, the power readings. "They're calling it the EDS Titan," Daniel said, "and Admiral Preston wants me to take command." Lisa stared at the schematic. The ship looked like it could fight the entire raider fleet alone. "Maybe even win." "When?" she asked. 2 weeks. It finishes trials in 2 weeks. "Preston wants us at Jupiter as soon as possible." "And then?" "Then we go back to Tertius system. That's where the raiders have their main base, and we make them pay for what they did to Harmony." Lisa nodded slowly. She knew what this meant. Earth was done asking permission, done accepting the scraps the galaxy offered. The Titan represented something new, something the aliens had not seen from humanity before. Raw, focused anger backed by the capability to act on it. "I'm with you," Lisa said. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." Daniel stood and looked at the star chart on his wall. Tertius system glowed red, marking it as a danger zone. The Council had given up on that region. "Too much trouble," they said. "Too expensive to clean out." "The galaxy thinks we're weak," Daniel said quietly. "They think we're children playing with toys. But they're about to learn something important about humans, and what's that? We're very good at building better toys." The Valiant set course for Jupiter. Behind them, Harmony burned. Ahead of them, in the shipyards hidden behind Jupiter's radiation, the Titan waited. 8 kilometers of human engineering, 8 kilometers of weapons and armor and fury. The galaxy had mocked Earth's navy. They had laughed at humanity's ships. They had attacked human colonies and expected Earth to accept it, to bow and scrape and beg for help. They were about to discover their mistake. And when the Titan emerged from the Jupiter shipyards, when Captain Daniel Pierce took command of the most powerful warship humanity had ever built, the mocking would stop. One way or another, the laughter would end. The shipyards around Jupiter had been busy for 5 years, hidden behind the gas giant's thick radiation belts. Away from prying eyes and curious sensors humanity had been building. Admiral Richard Preston stood on the observation deck of Construction Station Galileo, watching the final pieces of the Titan come together. The ship was enormous, 8 kilometers from front to back, covered in armor plates that gleamed under the construction lights. Weapons bristled from every surface. Gun turrets, missile bays, cannon emplacements. The Titan looked exactly like what it was, a warship built for one purpose: to fight, to win. Captain Daniel Pierce arrived on a fast courier ship. He stepped onto the observation deck and stopped. For a long moment he just stared at the vessel that would be his command. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "We didn't try to copy alien technology," Admiral Preston said quietly. "We couldn't. We don't have their exotic materials or their understanding of advanced physics. So we did something different. We optimized everything we do have." Daniel moved closer to the window. "Tell me about her." "Armor is layered graphene ceramic composite, 20 meters thick in critical areas. Behind that, multiple redundant hull sections. Even if the outer armor fails, she has backups. Her main weapons are magnetic accelerator cannons. They fire projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. When those rounds hit something, they hit with the force of a small nuclear bomb. Power? 4 fusion reactors. Each one could power a city. Together, they generate enough energy to run every system at maximum capacity with reserves left over." Daniel watched as a construction crew attached another armor plate to the ship's hull. The plate was the size of a small building. "What's her crew?" 3,500. "We've pulled the best people from across the fleet." "Your executive officer will be Lisa Morgan. Commander Helen Brooks is handling tactical. Commander Sam Mitchell has engineering. Lieutenant Ruth Parker is chief medical officer. When can we launch?" 2 weeks for a full shakedown. But I need you ready in 1. Daniel turned to look at the Admiral. 1 week? The galaxy is watching, Daniel. After Harmony, after what happened to the Independence, they think we're beaten. Some species are already talking about moving into human space, claiming our colonies for themselves. We need to show them they're wrong, and we need to do it now. Daniel looked back at the Titan. 1 week to get a brand new ship ready for combat. 1 week to train a crew of 3,500 on systems they had never used before. It seemed impossible. "We'll be ready," he said. The crew of the Titan arrived over the next 3 days. They came from every ship in Earth's fleet. Veterans from the resource wars. Young officers fresh from the academy. Engineers who had designed parts of the ship and wanted to see them in action. They all had one thing in common. They were angry. Harmony had hurt everyone. Every human in the galaxy felt the loss. The crew of the Titan carried that anger with them when they boarded. They turned it into focus, into determination. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan walked the ship's corridors with Commander Helen Brooks. Helen was a tactical officer with 15 years of experience. She had gray eyes that never stopped moving, always calculating, always planning. "The targeting systems are beautiful," Helen said. "I can track 500 individual targets simultaneously. The fire control computers can calculate solutions faster than I can think them." "How long to train the tactical crew?" "On a normal ship, months. But we don't have months. So we'll run simulations constantly. No sleep until everyone can do their job blindfolded." Lisa smiled. "You're going to be popular." "I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to make sure when we shoot at something, we kill it." Commander Sam Mitchell, the chief engineer, took a different approach. He did not run simulations. He personally inspected every system on the ship. Every pipe, every wire, every seal. His engineering crews worked around the clock, making small adjustments, squeezing out every bit of performance. "The reactors are stable," Sam reported to Daniel on day 4, "but I can push them harder. Give me another 2 days and I can increase power output by 8%. "Is it safe?" Daniel asked. "Safe enough. These reactors were built with huge safety margins. I'm just using what's already there." "Do it." Captain Ryan Foster came aboard as commander of the Marine contingent. He had recovered from his injuries when the Independence was destroyed. Ryan was a big man built like a boxer, with scars on his hands from years of fighting. He brought 2,000 Marines with him, all equipped with the best armor and weapons Earth could provide. "If we get close enough to board an enemy ship, we'll take it," Ryan promised. My people are ready. On day 6, Daniel called the entire crew to the main hangar bay. 3,500 people filled the huge space. They stood in formation waiting. Daniel looked out at them and saw faces from every continent on Earth. Different backgrounds. Different beliefs. All united by one thing. They were tired of being pushed around. The galaxy thinks we're weak, Daniel said. His voice echoed through the hangar. They watched harmony burn and did nothing. They laughed at our ships. They mocked our courage. They thought we would accept their decision, bow our heads, and stay quiet. Silence filled the hangar. Every eye was on him. This ship represents 5 years of work by the best engineers and scientists Earth has ever produced. It represents the hope of every colony, every family who fears the night. When we take the Titan into battle, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for the idea that humanity deserves a place among the stars. He paused, letting his words sink in. The galaxy mocked us. Let them mock. Because when the Titan emerges above their worlds, they will learn what it means to underestimate human beings. They will learn that we do not forgive. We do not forget. And we do not run. The crew erupted in cheers. The sound was deafening. Daniel let it wash over him, feeling the energy, the determination, the anger turned into purpose. Admiral Preston watched from the observation deck. He had seen a lot in his 40 years of service, wars, battles, victories, and defeats, but he had never seen anything like this. A crew ready to follow their captain into hell itself. God help anyone who stands in their way, Preston muttered. On day 7, the Titan left dock. The massive ship maneuvered away from the construction station with surprising grace. Her engines glowed blue-white, fusion power pushing her forward. Inside, Commander Sam Mitchell monitored every system with the intensity of a hawk watching prey. All systems nominal, Sam reported. Power at 100%. All weapons online. Shields at maximum. Commander Helen Brooks ran her tactical team through one last simulation. Enemy ships appeared on the holographic displays. Her crew tracked them, calculated firing solutions, coordinated point defense. It was like watching a well-oiled machine. Simulation complete, Helen reported. Time to full combat readiness, 43 seconds. That's better than any ship in the fleet. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan stood beside Daniel on the bridge. The bridge was circular, with holographic displays that showed space in every direction. It felt like standing in the middle of the universe itself. Course laid in for Tertius system, Lisa said. Travel time, 4 days. Daniel settled into the captain's chair. It felt right, like it had been made for him. Around him, his crew worked with focused intensity. They were ready. The ship was ready. Take us out, Daniel ordered. Best speed to Tertius. The Titan jumped to faster-than-light speed. Space stretched and blurred around them. Behind them, Jupiter fell away. Ahead, their destination waited. Tertius system, home to the raiders who had attacked Harmony. Home to slavers and pirates who thought themselves safe. They were about to learn differently. Admiral Preston sent one last message before the Titan jumped. It appeared on Daniel's command screen, just 2 sentences. Show them what we're made of. Make them remember the name Titan. Daniel looked at his crew. At Lisa standing ready at her station. At Helen, her fingers dancing over tactical controls. At Sam in engineering, coaxing every bit of power from the reactors. At Ryan and his Marines waiting for the order to fight. Let's go to work, Daniel said. The Titan flew through the darkness between stars, carrying humanity's answer to those who had mocked them. 8 kilometers of fury, 3,500 souls ready for battle. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. Tertius system was a place the Galactic Council had given up on. Pirates, slavers, and raiders used the asteroid bases here as safe harbors. The largest base, Tertius Prime, was carved into an asteroid the size of a small moon. 47 warships protected it, stolen and captured vessels from a dozen different species. The base commander was a Vecron named Scrax. He was old for his kind, with scars covering his armored hide. He had been raiding for 30 years and never lost a major battle. When his sensors detected a single ship entering the system, he laughed. Humans, he said to his officers. One ship, probably come to beg for their people back. His second-in-command, a younger Vecron named Thrax, studied the sensor readings. Sir, the ship is very large, bigger than anything we've seen from Earth before. So what? Big just means more salvage when we capture it. Launch the fleet, surround them, we'll take that ship intact and sell it back to Earth for a fortune. 47 warships launched from Tertius Prime. They formed up in a classic encirclement pattern, trying to surround the human vessel. Scrax watched from his command center, already counting the money he would make. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Daniel Pierce watched the Raider fleet deploy. Commander Helen Brooks was at tactical, her hands moving quickly over her controls. 47 hostile vessels, Helen reported. They're trying to surround us. Weapons range in 3 minutes. All weapons, stand by, Daniel ordered. His voice was calm. Helen, I want firing solutions on every ship in that formation. Priority targets are the heavy cruisers. Solutions locked, sir. We can engage at current range. The Raiders continued their positioning, not realizing the danger they were in. They thought this was going to be an easy capture. Another human ship to add to their collection. Fire, Daniel said. The Titan's main cannons spoke. Magnetic accelerator rounds screamed across space at a significant fraction of light speed. The first Raider cruiser never knew what hit it. One moment it existed. The next, it was expanding debris. The projectile had hit with so much energy that it simply tore the ship apart at the molecular level. The second cruiser managed to raise its shields. The shields lasted 4 seconds before failing under sustained fire. 3 more rounds hit the cruiser's hull. It broke in half, atmosphere venting, fires blooming across its length. Chaos erupted in the Raider fleet. This was not supposed to happen. Human ships were weak. Human weapons barely scratched paint. But whatever this new ship was, it was killing cruisers like they were made of paper. All ships, evasive maneuvers, Scrax screamed into his communicator. Focus fire on that human ship. Bring it down. The Raiders opened fire. Plasma bolts, missiles, and particle beams converged on the Titan. The ship's shields flared brilliant blue as they absorbed the energy. Inside, Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan coordinated damage control reports. Minor hits on sections 12 through 15, she reported. Shields holding at 91%. Armor shows no damage. Commander Sam Mitchell pushed the reactors harder. Power at 97%. All systems nominal. She's handling it beautifully, sir. The Titan waded into the Raider fleet like a shark into a school of fish. Her missile bays opened, launching hundreds of smart munitions. Each missile had its own guidance system, hunting for targets. They swarmed around enemy ships, overwhelming point defense, slamming into hulls. Commander Helen Brooks tracked every target with cold efficiency. Her tactical team worked like a machine. They identified threats, calculated firing solutions, coordinated the ship's dozens of weapon systems. It was beautiful and terrible to watch. Targets 12 and 15 destroyed, Helen reported. Targets 3 and 7 heavily damaged. 21 and 34 attempting to flee. Don't let them escape, Daniel ordered. I want every Raider ship in this system destroyed or captured. The battle became a hunt. The Titan's engines pushed the massive ship to speeds that seemed impossible for something so large. Raiders tried to run. The Titan caught them. They tried to hide in the asteroid field. The Titan's sensors found them. They tried to surrender. Daniel ignored them. These were the people who had attacked Harmony, who had taken human slaves, who had killed families and burned towns. There would be no mercy today. Lieutenant Greg Baker, recovered from his injuries, on the Defender, commanded one of the Titan's fighter squadrons. He led 12 small craft out of the hangar bay, chasing down raiders who thought they could hide behind asteroids. Blue 3, I have a target on your 6, Greg called over the radio. Copy, Blue Leader. Breaking left. The squadron worked together, herding raiders into firing solutions for the Titan's main guns. It was dangerous work. The raiders were desperate now, firing wildly at anything that moved. But the human pilots were better trained and angrier. They had all lost friends at Harmony. 15 minutes into the engagement, 20 Raider ships were gone. Destroyed or floating dead in space. The survivors broke formation completely, every ship trying to save itself. It was no longer a battle. It was an execution. Scrax watched his fleet die from Tertius Prime. His hands shook as he activated the base's defense grid. Massive cannons emerged from hidden ports in the asteroid. They were designed to crack moons. weapons powerful enough to threaten even capital ships. "Fire everything!" Scrax screamed. "Kill that ship!" The base's cannons fired in unison. Concentrated, plasma beams, each one carrying the energy of a small star, converged on the Titan. The ship's shields flared so brightly they looked like a small sun. Inside, alarms screamed. The ship shuddered under the impact. "Shields down to 43%, Lisa reported. "Forward armor taking damage. Hull breach on Deck 6, Section 8. "Seal it," Daniel ordered. "Helen, target that base. Main cannons sustained fire." Commander Helen Brooks locked every weapon the Titan had onto Tertius Prime. Firing. For 20 minutes, the Titan hammered the asteroid base. Her main cannons fired round after round, each one penetrating deeper into the rock. Her missiles slammed into shield emitters and weapon ports. Her secondary batteries walked fire across the asteroid's surface. Tertius Prime's shields held longer than the Raider ships had. They were designed to withstand siege. But they were not designed to withstand this level of punishment. Slowly, section by section, they failed. The magnetic accelerator rounds penetrated deep into the asteroid. They collapsed tunnel networks. They breached the central command center. They found the main reactors. Scrax's last transmission was a desperate plea to the Galactic Council. "This is Tertius Prime. We are under attack by human forces. Send help. Send anyone. They're going to kill us all." No one answered. The Council had written off this region years ago, and even if they wanted to help, by the time any ship arrived, it would be over. When Tertius Prime's reactors went critical, the explosion could be seen from 3 star systems away. The asteroid broke apart, massive chunks spinning off into space. Everything inside was gone. The base, the Raiders, Scrax. All of it turned to dust and debris. Captain Ryan Foster led his Marines aboard one of the few Raider ships that had surrendered. They moved through the corridors in their powered armor, weapons ready. What they found in the cargo holds made even these hardened soldiers sick. Slaves, hundreds of them from a dozen different species. Humans, Xanthari, Crovaxi, even some species Ryan did not recognize. They were chained, starved, beaten. Over 200 of them were human, taken from Harmony and other colonies. "Get them to medical," Ryan ordered. His voice was tight. "And document everything. I want records of all of this. The galaxy needs to see what was happening here." The Titan's medical bay filled with freed slaves. Lieutenant Ruth Parker and her team worked around the clock, treating injuries, providing food and water, offering comfort. Many of the slaves just cried, unable to believe they were free. The battle for Tertius system lasted 6 hours from start to finish. When it was over, 43 Raider ships were destroyed. 4 had been captured. Tertius Prime was rubble. And the galaxy had watched every moment. Every species with sensors in range had detected the battle. They had seen a single human vessel destroy an entire fleet. They had seen it crack open a base the Galactic Council had never bothered to attack. And they were beginning to realize something important. Humanity was not weak anymore. Admiral Richard Preston received Captain Daniel Pierce's report with grim satisfaction. "How's the Titan?" "Minor damage to outer armor sections. Shields regenerated fully within an hour. Reactors performed flawlessly. Crew morale is high. Casualties? 17 wounded. None dead." Daniel paused. "Admiral, we saved over 200 human captives and freed hundreds more from other species. But Tertius was just one base. Intelligence says there are dozens more. I know. But you've proven something today, Daniel. You've proven we can fight back. More importantly, you've proven we will fight back." "What are our orders?" "Take the Titan to Vendrix Prime. The Galactic Council wants to talk to you. I think it's time we explained some things to them." Daniel looked at the tactical display showing the debris field that used to be Tertius Prime. "I think they're starting to understand." "Maybe. But let's make sure they get the message loud and clear." The Titan set course for the Council station. Behind her, freed slaves were beginning their journeys home. Ahead, the galaxy waited with nervous anticipation. The arrival of the Titan above Vendrix Prime caused panic. For 2 days, delegates from across the galaxy had been watching reports from Tertius system. They had seen sensor data. They had watched analysis from military experts. They had all come to the same uncomfortable conclusion. The humans had built something dangerous. The Titan hung in orbit like a dark threat. 8 kilometers of warship, her weapons powered down but visible. Every species with a delegation at the council station stared at their screens, calculating what that ship could do to them if it wanted to. Thexeron, the Crovaxi delegate who had laughed at humanity months before, stood at a viewing port. His mandibles clicked nervously. That human ship dwarfed the council station. If it opened fire, the station would be destroyed before any defense fleet could respond. Captain Daniel Pierce received an invitation to address the council. He arrived on a small shuttle with just Lieutenant Commander Lisa Morgan and 2 Marines. As he walked into the council chambers, the assembled delegates fell silent. This was not the desperate human who had stood before them seeking membership. This was someone who had just destroyed an entire raider fleet and felt no need to apologize for it. "Honored delegates," Daniel began. His voice was calm but carried an edge that made several delegates shift in their seats. "I come before you not to request anything but to inform you of a change in policy." The Zenthari delegate, Prime Commander Vexarin, stood. His gray skin seemed paler than usual. "You attack a civilian base and then threaten the council with your presence. This is not civilized behavior." "Civilian?" Daniel's laugh was harsh. "Tertius Prime was a haven for slavers and raiders. We found over 800 captives in their holds, citizens from 17 council species. Where were your fleets when those people were being taken? Where was your justice?" Silence filled the chamber. Several delegates looked away, uncomfortable. "Humanity has learned something important," Daniel continued. "The galaxy does not care about justice. It cares about power. You tolerated the raiders because they were too much trouble to eliminate. You accepted our suffering because we were too weak to matter. That ends today." He activated a display showing the Titan's specifications. Not everything, but enough. The weapons capabilities, the armor strength, the power generation. Earth's defense fleet now includes 3 Titan-class warships. 6 more are under construction. We are establishing security zones around all human colonies. Any hostile action within those zones will be met with immediate and overwhelming force. We are no longer asking for permission. The council erupted. Delegates shouted in a dozen languages. Thexeron clicked his mandibles angrily. "You cannot simply declare your own territory. That violates treaties. Treaties you use to maintain power while letting smaller species suffer." Daniel shot back. "We're not interested in your games anymore. Humanity will protect itself and anyone who asks for our help." Prime Commander Vexarin stood to his full height. "And if we decide your Titan-class ships are a threat to galactic stability? If we decide to eliminate them?" Daniel met the Zenthari's glowing eyes without flinching. "Then you'll find out exactly how many you can eliminate before the cost becomes too high. The Zenthari Empire has maintained peace through superior firepower for 500 years. Welcome to reality where you're not the only ones with that capability anymore." Lisa watched the delegates carefully. She saw fear on many faces, anger on others, but on the faces of delegates from smaller species, she saw something else. Hope. The idea that maybe, just maybe, they did not have to accept being victims anymore. The council session ended in chaos, but over the following weeks something remarkable happened. Species who had suffered under raider attacks began reaching out to Earth. The Palaxian Collective, a small alliance of peaceful traders, requested a defense pact. The Orvani, a species whose homeworld had been raided 3 times in the past decade, asked for help establishing better defenses. Trade agreements were proposed. Technology exchanges were suggested. Humanity, once mocked and dismissed, was now being courted. The second Titan-class ship, the EDS Olympus, completed trials ahead of schedule. Captain Laura Martin took command. She was a veteran with 20 years in the fleet. Known for her tactical brilliance, the Olympus was assigned to patrol the frontier zones, working with local species to eliminate pirate bases. The third ship, the EDS Hercules, under Captain Nathan Cross, took up station in the Sol system. It was a visible reminder that Earth would defend itself. The Hercules hung in orbit between Earth and Mars, her presence reassuring to every human who looked up at the night. Sky Commander Helen Brooks received a promotion and was given command of a new, destroyer squadron that would operate with the, Titan. Admiral Preston called it the Titan Battle Group. 5 destroyers, 2 cruisers, and the Titan herself. Wherever the battle group went, peace followed. Raiders scattered. Pirates fled. And colonies that had lived in fear began to relax. 6 months after the Battle of Tertius, the Vecron raiders attempted revenge. They assembled a massive fleet, over 200 ships. Their target was New Hope, a human colony on the frontier. They expected to overwhelm the defenses before help could arrive. Instead, they found the Olympus already in orbit, waiting. Captain Laura Martin had received intelligence about the raider gathering. She positioned her ship and waited. When the raiders arrived, she was ready. The battle was brutal but brief. Laura had learned from Daniel's tactics at Tertius, adding her own refinements. She used the planet's gravity to slingshot around, giving her ship additional speed. She targeted the raider command ships first, decapitating their leadership. Her Marines, led by Major Kevin Shaw, captured 3 raider commanders alive. The captured raiders were delivered to the Galactic Council with full documentation of their crimes, sensor logs, testimony from freed slaves, evidence of attacks on 24 worlds. The Council, pressured by dozens of species who were tired of being victims, had no choice but to act. For the first time in decades, the Galactic Council authorized a joint military operation to eliminate the raider threat. Multiple species volunteered ships and troops. The Xanthari provided cruisers. The Kravaxi sent fast attack vessels. Species from across the galaxy joined together, and humanity provided the core firepower in the form of 2 Titan-class ships. Captain Daniel Pierce watched the joint fleet assemble with mixed feelings. The Titan and the Olympus formed the center of a massive armada. Over 300 ships from 20 different species. Together they swept through the lawless regions, destroying bases and freeing thousands of slaves. "They'll turn on us eventually," Daniel said to Lisa, as they watched another raider base burn. "Once we've helped them solve their problems, they'll see us as a threat." "Maybe," Lisa replied. "But for now they respect us, and that's better than being mocked." The joint operation lasted 3 months. When it ended, the frontier zones were safer than they had been in a generation. Raider fleets were scattered. Bases were destroyed, and the galaxy had learned to work together, at least for a while. In the shipyards of Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars, more Titan-class vessels were under construction. The EDS Athena, the EDS Thor, the EDS Valkyrie, each one a promise and a warning. Humanity would defend itself. Humanity would protect the innocent. And humanity would never again be dismissed as primitive or weak. Smaller species began modernizing their own fleets, using human designs as inspiration. The Palaxians built cruisers based on Earth's destroyers. The Orvani established a defense academy, training their people in human tactics. The galaxy was changing, adapting to the new reality. Admiral Richard Preston stood in his office on Earth, looking at reports from across human space. Colonies were thriving, trade was expanding, and most importantly, humanity was safe. Not because the galaxy had decided to protect them, but because humanity had proven it could protect itself. A message came in from Captain Daniel Pierce. The Titan battle group had just finished escorting a convoy of Palaxian merchants through a disputed region. No pirates had dared to attack. The mere presence of the Titan was enough to deter them. "Mission accomplished," the message read. "Heading to Rendezvous Point Delta. All ships in good condition. Crew morale excellent," Preston smiled. He had gambled 5 years ago when he approved Project Titan. Gambled that humanity could build something the galaxy would respect. Gambled that one ship could make a difference. That gamble had paid off beyond his wildest hopes. The galaxy had mocked Earth's navy. They had laughed at human ships and dismissed human courage. They had attacked human colonies and expected humanity to accept it, to bow down, to stay quiet and grateful for whatever scraps were offered. But when the Titan class emerged above their worlds, when humanity proved it could not only fight but win, everything changed. The balance of power shifted. New alliances formed, and humanity took its place not as a victim or a supplicant, but as an equal partner in shaping the galaxy's future. Captain Daniel Pierce sat in his command chair aboard the Titan, watching stars stream past on the holographic display. His crew worked around him with practiced efficiency. These people, 3,500 souls, had helped change history. They had shown the galaxy what humanity was capable of when pushed too far. Course to our next patrol sector laid in, Lisa reported.